She's enjoying.
The broadcast is live.
And
Hello.
Chapati is live.
No one here yet.
Cool.
So, who is starting?
What's the wait?
I will. I'm just waiting for some people to join in.
Uh-huh. So we are already online, yeah? But we're waiting for people to join us.
Yep.
Yeah, we have enough. I think. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to DogSpot Live, another session. We have a very interesting session lined up for you today. Hi, Radhika. Hi, Karan. Hi, Sam. Hi, Chris. Good to have you guys. We're chatting today with Kristina and Eugene, and also, of course, Chapati, as featured on your screen right here. She's an indie pup that this couple rescued from Fort Kochi in February 2017 and decided they just couldn't leave her behind. So now she lives in Ukraine with her pet parents, and they've traveled to over 30 countries, all three of them in cars, buses, trains, bikes, even ferries. So she's had a great adventure thanks to Kristina and Eugene here. Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hey.
Mussarat.
Hey, everybody. Nice to
And
meet
hi,
you.
everyone.
So this is Chapati, our beloved dog from India.
She's beautiful. I mean, and I've seen your Instagram, which I've featured here. It's gorgeous. I mean, she looks amazing in all these
Thank
photos.
you. We think the same. We love her really much.
So
She's
we will get to how to do decode international travel with you guys with dogs. But let's start with Chapati's rescue story. So if you want to tell us what happened.
So actually, our story together with Chapati started in January 2017. We just started our half a year tour through Asia.
Mhm.
We landed in Kochi, and right on the second day, we met a dying puppy. She
Okay.
was literally dying. She was dehydrated. She was very hot and starving. So we just realized that if we pass by, this dog can die in few hours. So we decided to help her, to save her life. But in a few days after treating her, we realized that it's probably destiny. And this is definitely our dog. She also had many other problems like ticks, fleas, worms. Her leg was arched. Like she had all problems you could even imagine. But we helped her. We brought her back to health. And then we started to travel because actually we didn't have any other options. We were on a tour. So this dog started to travel from when she was 3 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah. And it was a pure accident because, we came to Kochi just because the tickets to this particular city was the cheapest to India. So we started with Kochi. And that night, it was our second night in India, and we had a dinner in a restaurant, and we were going back to the hotel. And actually, we didn't take the road we took every time, but we decided to detour just to pass another street to walk around to see what's happening over there. And actually, we get lost for a point. So when we found Chapati, it was the place that we weren't supposed to be on.
Initially, yeah.
Yes, so
We were supposed to be there.
it's such a big accident.
Yeah, so
It
we
happens
really
like it
believe
happens.
that it's a destiny.
Yeah.
We're lucky, and Chapati is lucky, so we're so happy with
But I think that we are more lucky than Chapati.
Of
Sure.
course.
she's a
Of course.
star here. She's a star.
She adopted you.
Yeah,
I all
definitely.
adopted you, yeah. So, what's why the name chapati? I mean, it's so fascinating. It's such a common dish for us in India, and we wouldn't even think about it. But how come she's chapati?
Will you tell the story?
Yeah, actually, that time, we were in India a few years before 2017, but it was our second time in 2017, and I think it was the time when we actually tried chapati as a dish, and we really enjoyed it. Like we had it every morning, and we thought that probably chapati looks like this chapati, the dog, it's like actual chapati, because she was really thin. She was tan by her color, and as she at that point she was full of fleas. So the fleas were like a brown spots, like you have when you are frying chapati. So yeah, and the most important thing we noticed that this name, when we like just gave it a try and spoke to a few people that she's chapati, like all the people, they were laughing. It made them, and that was emotion we were like glad to see. It was emotion we wanted to bring out from people, like a fun, a joy when they see Indian dog named Chapati. So we decided to stick to Chapati.
Yeah, we wanted her to bring only positive emotions to people.
Great story. And who doesn't like bread, right? I mean, you get your carbs and you feel better. You don't get angry anymore because you're hungry. So perfect. Yeah, of course, she's brown. She can raw chapati because no more chips and peas, no brown spots, completely.
Yeah.
So she's gorgeous. She's really, and thank you guys, for giving a dog a wonderful life, wonderful home. It's always such a delight to watch, the dog living its best life. I mean, I wish all dogs would get that what Chapati has got.
We wish that too.
Yeah. Hi Pranav, hi Mona Lisa. Oh, hello from Philippines.
Hi.
Guys. Aisha, hi guys. Thanks for joining us. So, of course, like I mentioned in the beginning, she's been to over 30 countries. So, how did all this traveling start?
How did this travel start, right?
Yes.
So, first of all, like we had to prepare all the documents and to bring her to health because she was really sick. And we were lucky that we had a prolonged visa for 2 months. So we stayed whole 2 months in India. And all this time we were preparing all the documents she needed to travel further. Yeah. So I think Kristina will tell more about the documents. So I'll tell just about the roads we had. So after...
We'll get into the documents later. But,
So after finding her in Kochi, we went to Varkala. Then we started to move up north and to Goa, to Mumbai. Then we went to Rajasthan. Then we went to Amritsar. Then back to Delhi, to Manali, to McLeodganj, and then we went out of India when all the documents were prepared, and we went to Nepal. Then flew to Thailand. Then went to Myanmar. Back to Thailand, flew to Philippines, and then from Philippines.
So hi to the Philippines.
Yes, back to Ukraine. And actually, after this part of our travels, our flights they were over because we didn't want to bother Chapati anymore with all these flights when we were separated, and we decided to travel as much as possible by land, and we started our trips to Europe. So we had 3 large trips to Europe afterwards.
Okay.
The first one was to Italy, and during that time we passed, I think, 7 countries. So from Ukraine to Hungary, to Slovenia, to Italy, to Vaticano, Italy back, then to Austria, Czech Republic, and Poland, and then Belarus. A bit later, we went to Germany and Sweden and Denmark. North of Europe, really like rich and beautiful countries. And our last trip, it was regarding Europe, it was the greatest trip because we visited 13 countries, and we were
traveling for almost 3 months.
Yes, almost 3 months. It was all the southern Europe, Balkan region. So that was really like a true long travel voyage, and it was awesome. And of course, we had some plans for this year, but right now, due to lockdown, we I like to say that we postponed. We didn't cancel it, but we postponed this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hopefully, maybe in autumn, if everything is right, we can start to travel again.
Yeah, I heard at least in Europe they're opening travel, so maybe you can get some more countries in this year. So, Mitali saying she witnessed all weathers. Yeah, Mitali she has, and she's been to 30 countries. If you ask, so I'm just answering that I had answered it before. And Ruhi here wants to know, does chapati eat chapatis?
I think that chapati would be very happy to eat chapatis, but we don't give them to her because it's not really good for her health.
Yeah. We feed her with manufactured dog food, and because it's really convenient in travel, so you don't need to cook to find any kind of food. You just bring your own food you are sure about, and you feed her with it. But just to mention, the times, for example, when she were sick and had some problems with her stomach, it's nice to feed some rice. In this case, for example, in case of diarrhea. So when we gave chapati rice, she was absolutely
plain rice without even a sin. Yeah. She's crazy about it. So she's pure Indian. Indian.
No doubt about that.
That's amazing. But did you guys learn how to make chapatis, or do you not know?
So chapatis, I think that chapatis is not the best for dogs, but we really adore them, and we think that for people it's definitely one of the best dishes.
Yeah, we're sure that chapati will love it. If you try to feed chapati to chapati, she will eat it with joy.
How old is she? Chapati is now 3.5 years.
3.5.
Yeah.
She's a grown dog in her best age. Still playful in a way. She's probably in her heart she's a still teenager, but by age she's a grown up.
I would say a kid, but you're right. She's a teenager because sometimes she can be very
stubborn.
Stubborn, yeah.
Yeah, she is stubborn. I think all Indian dogs are stubborn.
A bit.
Yeah, a bit stubborn, a bit self-aware, a bit self-conscious. I mean, they are fighters anyway. They are more about their territory, about
Yeah.
So she is like that. I mean, whatever you do, she's a great dog, but you need to appreciate her own character because she's unique, like all the dogs. She's not like a Labrador or any other dog.
So you definitely need to spend some time with trainings because this dog has a big history, and you need to appreciate it and to help it.
So I think all dogs benefit from training. Training is not just like sit or come here or do this, not just obedience from us, but it also creates a bond between you and your dog because you understand each other better. So I think training works in favor of all dogs because otherwise people are always just screaming at their dogs, no, don't do this or don't do that, versus just putting in some kind of train your dog so the dog understands what you want from them. And I think because dogs have adapted so well to human beings and they want to, they do want to please you and they like to follow what their humans are doing. So I think training works very well for everyone.
It's all about communication because it's different pieces. You can't make her do what you want. It's not like this. You need to find a way. You need to find an attitude she'll understand, and she'll because she loves us. We know this, but she does it in her own way, and it's okay.
So, Pranav wants to know which is your most favorite travel moment with Chapati.
Actually, all our travels with Chapati, it's one big moment, our favorite moment. So really, we adore everything we had. Of course, sometimes we had some difficulties, but sometimes you romanticize it and you remember it like a very unique very unique and adorable experience. As for the moment, probably the most nostalgic period was traveling in Asia, in India, in Nepal, Philippines, Myanmar, Thailand. Because it's nearly impossible for us now to come back there.
Without.
So as we are traveling by car, it might take, I don't know, maybe 2 months only to reach India. And it will take huge amount of money
and effort
and all stuff like that.
And of course, and it's a really important moment that Chapati is not going to be puppy anymore. Yeah, she's grown up. So we remember that moment that when she was a puppy, like a really unique moments full of happiness and joy.
So this is really nostalgic for us, and I don't know at the moment how can we come back to India and to the Himalayas, let's say. But I wish that someday we will find an opportunity and have a big tour through Himalayas, exploring even more of North India, exploring Nepal, Bhutan, and all countries like that. So, but moments, there are a lot of special moments, and it's impossible to name them all.
But you appreciate all these moments when you are not on travel, when you're home, when you're locked
down.
I'm just waiting to start any kind of travel.
Like even the countries which we didn't like that much, now it's better to go to them than to stay at home.
But still, when you
as they take us,
all the countries have something to offer. I mean, even like the most, I don't know, boring countries, they still have something interesting. They are unique, and the world.
And it's always about you. It's always about you. You can always find something very special for yourself.
Right. So, do you guys want to show us some pictures of Chapati while traveling and tell us some stories from there?
Okay. This is one of my favorite moments. That's in Manali. Chapati is 2 months, old?
Yeah.
About 2 months old. So we came to North India and we realized that Chapati is getting cold there. When we started to find a coat for her, we couldn't find it because in cities like Manali, like McLeodganj, you can't find fancy pet shops.
Especially because the season also.
Also a low season. And as she was a small pup, she started to get cold. So
she cried. She was like,
she was, Daddy,
cold, help me.
So at some point, Eugene started to carry her like a kangaroo babe. And this helped us to go to the trekkings and to explore mountains. In other case, she would be really cold and we couldn't do that. Of course, she was also a bit tired walking by herself because she was too young.
It was long distances.
You can't see it on this picture, but we also had to make her very creative coat. I took my old sock. I did some with scissors. I cut some openings, and she was wearing a sock like a coat. You can see this pictures in her Instagram somewhere in the beginning of the story. A colorful, very colorful sock, which looks funny.
I think this is one of my favorite pictures. It's just so adorable. And she's looking so content, right? Like, okay, this is my place. I'm happy here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Baby kangaroo.
Okay, where is this?
This is Kosovo.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most dog unfriendly countries in Europe. We have been,
Mm-hmm.
but still, even dog unfriendly countries, it's not a verdict. You can always find some options. Still, we found
Right.
some places. Maybe it's only one hostel in the whole city which allows dogs, but still there is one, and it's great. The same with cafes. Most of them won't allow dogs, even outside. But we are very adaptive, the same as our chapati. She actually taught us to be adaptive. So in cases, thank you, thank you, Pranav. So actually, if we can't find any places to eat, any cafes that allow us with dog, we just go. Someone of us goes to the supermarket, buys some food,
Or takeaway.
and we're okay with that.
You can get takeaway in any place and eat outside, eat in a room, or I mean, it's not a big deal.
So cafes is definitely not the biggest problem in traveling with pets.
Yeah.
As for us, at least.
So I guess place to stay would be the most difficult.
Yeah, but in our experience, we never. We always could find at least one place in the city.
In any country.
In any country. And like even if you're searching for dog-friendly places on like Booking.com or Agada or kind of that, many places which are not tagged as dog-friendly, you can always talk to people. If you come in live and you are telling like, I want to stay at your place, we have a dog, but she's very obedient and we are absolutely sure that she won't make any damage to your place.
You can give even a deposit.
Yeah, you can even give a deposit, and you can always find more places than
it is listed.
Yeah, as it is listed. Yeah, this is Italy. This is Florence.
A beautiful dome, the heart of the Florence, and we went to a hill, which is popular among the tourists because you can observe all the city from that hill. And Chapati, she was sunbathing and really happy and having a good mood. So you see, she's smiling over here.
Yeah, probably on our among 30 countries we traveled to, Italy seemed the most dog friendly. Like you can go with your dog almost everywhere. More than half of the hotels and apartments allow you to stay with your dog. Many cafes, even some supermarkets and shops allow you with a dog.
Wow.
So Italy is amazing.
Who takes these pictures? Because they're stunning photos of
Thank
Chapati.
you. Most of them.
Yeah, Eugene,
Really
professional photographer.
I'm not a professional. I'm just a person who takes pictures with a love.
it shows.
Eugene.
Yeah.
For great pictures.
This is in Ukraine. This is in our home country. It's in Carpathian region. So she's.
These are our mountains.
Yeah. So she's standing on cut wood, and behind her is a hill and some settlements over there. Yeah, it's a nice place because it's fresh air and it's not so hot in the summer like all other country, country.
And the region is very unique. It has its own culture, own dishes, own type of language. Own dialect. Yeah, but Carpathians.
To Indian.
Yeah.
It's everywhere in India. But
Yeah.
Carpathians
Sorry, go ahead, Kristina.
Carpathians are not as tall as Himalayas, so they have snow only in winter. But in summer, most of them will be green with forests because they are not that big.
And berries everywhere.
Wow.
This is Romania, Bucharest.
Oh.
It was the very beginning of our Balkan tour.
And this a building of a bank with a glass dome, and one of the most popular streets, really narrow, full of cafes, restaurants, and there were a few benches.
Thank you.
We decided to
Adorable.
to have chapati rest on the bench.
Yeah, but actually, to take this picture, we had to go through neighborhood for about an hour to find the spot where we can have chapati and this dome to be seen on the picture. It took actually an hour to find this spot.
And it was crowded. There were so many people around, so we were lucky to get the moment when nobody is in a shot. But chapati.
Absolutely worth it. It's a gorgeous photo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Kathmandu, Nepal.
Yeah. And
also one of the best times during our travels.
And chapati looks like she owns the world, you know.
Yeah, like she's on the top of the world. One of newspapers in Arabian Emirates wrote an article about chapati. This picture was on the heading, and it was named "This dog travels like a boss."
I like that. She's like.
Was the first coat we bought actually. After
the sock, yeah, it was the first coat specially made for dogs.
Saloni saying, "Look at those ears. They're so cute, you know." Just absolutely adorable.
You may notice that during that times when she was a pup and we were traveling through Asia, she had a black nose. But after we came back to Ukraine and
she faced first winters, not that much sun here, and her nose started to detan. So now it's almost pink.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, how interesting is that? I never thought about it even.
Yeah, but you know, there is even one, there is a special term. It's called winter nose. So there are some dogs which nose starts to detan during winters, and this is actually called winter nose.
Let me see.
Yeah, see?
Ah, look at that. That's incredible. So Deepak has a question. Deepak, I would recommend if you look at the banner, please contact petspot.in. They'll help you with more information about various countries where you can relocate to with your dog, which are more friendly, and they have a lot of experience in relocating internationally and domestically. So the website is down below as well. And so Kristina and Eugene, you know, I'm sure everyone wants to know, since you travel so much, what are the travel hacks that you have for people?
Travel hacks. There are a lot of them.
Yes.
Of course, I always start to speak about this topic, telling that you should always think whether your dog is ready for travels. Mm-hmm. There are definitely some dogs who don't like it that much. Chapati is really adaptable. She likes the transport. She likes exploring new places. She's always okay with that. But there are dogs who may even vomit in a car, or who get too stressed with that. So I always say that it's better that you should first understand, is your dog ready for that?
Yeah.
Of course, there is always the second question. how are you traveling and where are you going to go. In
Right.
case, like, if you're emigrating to the other country,
Yeah.
it's never ever a reason to abandon your pet, because there are always ways how you can get your pet with you.
Yeah.
But in example, you're going for a small holiday for a weekend and you're going to fly to the other country. I think that putting your dog in the luggage department of the airplane is quite a high risk. And it will always be better if you find some relatives or some friends who could take care of your dogs during this small vacation.
Right.
Yeah, technically, it's not a high risk; it's a small risk. But when you're talking about your beloved animal, any risk is a high risk. So
Yeah.
you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But at least the dog is getting stressed.
Sure.
It's really bad. So we know that Chapati will really get stressed if she's separated with us. So you should always consider if your journey is worse, taking your dog with you. If you have an opportunity to travel by a car, that's a better idea. It's always easier, and of course, if your dog is okay with a car.
Yeah.
Probably our second. I would even say it's not a life hack; it's a rule.
Yeah, true.
If you plan to have international travels, always start to plan them in advance.
Right.
I would say at least 2 months beforehand, you should start planning. You should start preparing the documents, and you should start investigating the question.
It's not the case with Europe and your first trip, because you need.
Yeah, but if we are talking about traveling, like if you're traveling from India to the USA or to countries of the European Union, I would even say that you should start to plan at least half a year, maybe even more, because there is one very important document called rabies titer test certificate, which takes a lot of time to prepare, and it may take really up to 6 months to make everything. So plan in advance, and never have panics. Try to make everything step by step, because if you just start to travel with your pet and you want to understand everything at one point, your mind is going to blow. Really. So, step by step.
It was our rule actually when we found Chapati, because when Kristina told that she wanted to take Chapati as our dog and to adopt her and travel with her, I was like, how are you gonna do this? I mean, we're going to travel almost half a year. It's not possible. You need so many documents. You need so many different information. And when you try to search on the internet, all the information is controversial. You never can actually trust everything. Yeah, so we decided to take as a rule to follow one.
Just a second. I need to put my our laptop.
So we decided to do everything step by step. Yeah. So our first step. Okay, we know for sure that she needs rabies vaccination. Of course, yeah. So we'll make this. Then other vaccinations, we'll make them. Then we, for example, when we found out that anyway we're going back home and going back to Europe, we need a blood titer test. So we decided, we took blood, we mailed the blood internationally to get this result and the certificate.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a very big problem that in India, you don't have any approved laboratories which can make this rabies titer test.
At least it was a few years ago. We don't know about now.
I think it's still the same.
But it's really all the rules, they change quite often. So every time you need to go to any country, you just need to recheck it. Because, for example,
even if you read a blog where everything is listed step by step, you should always double check because the rules can change.
Yeah, for example, when we're
Perfectly.
studying the question of traveling to USA and about the certificate we have, and a few years ago it was stated that we can actually have the same certificate and travel, but right now people say that the rule changed and you need a new one before entering USA. So
Yeah, like each year you need to make a
to
new
renew.
teacher test, rabies test.
For Europe, it's not like this.
For Europe, you need one and it lasts forever, let's say,
If you make your rabies vaccination
in time.
in the time every year as it's supposed to be. So yeah, just recheck everything. And the better way to check is to go to the web pages of special
Governmental
structure
structures.
of the
Not
particular
blogs,
countries.
not posts you can find on
Never
internet.
trust blogs.
Yeah, never trust blogs. We're having a blog, but I say you never trust blogs.
Yeah, it's just for your information, just to understand the.
Yeah, you could first read the blog, but then you always have to recheck on the governmental page.
Right. Makes sense. Or
Yeah.
if you're lazy like me, you go to petspot.in because I just contact them if I want any travel information or if somebody's asking me, I redirect them there. So thanks for that, guys. What about the checklist? Do you have a checklist for chapati before you travel?
Yeah, we have kind of a checklist. It will take too much time if I assume all the stuff we take with her because probably she has even more stuff than we do. But especially for you, we prepared a downloadable version. You can now see the link, and you can download for your future use Chapati's travel checklist.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. So like it has many different stuff you wouldn't even think that are obligatory for traveling with a pet. But our big experience showed us that, in example, it's always a great idea to have some blankets, special blankets for the dog, because if you need to travel in taxi, it's always a great idea to tell to the taxis that we're going to cover the seat. Don't worry, everything is going to be clean.
Same with restaurants.
Same with restaurants. Same with hotels. If you cover the seat, you'll have less problems, and people will eagerly agree to let you in with the dog.
Even for a dog.
That's a great tip. Thank you. Yeah.
If, for example, the dog uses to lay down on the blanket you have with you, she'll get used to this. And when you put the blanket to a sofa in any new place, she will be happily sitting there. So
because her own smell will help her too.
She needs to know her place, where it's possible to rest and where it's not.
Because
in a lot of new smells in places, one known thing is there. That level of comfort comes in with that same blanket everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, it was we didn't understand this when we first started to travel, but in some time we realized that it's great to have these special rollers for taking dog's hair.
Okay.
Because even if you cover the sofa in the hotel, there can be still some hair left on it. And the hotel may charge you extra for cleaning. But if you have this roller, you always clean after yourself and you won't face any problems.
Actually, it's a really nice, valid point, because we are really, really, really careful about this. All this cleaning stuff. Every time we clean after ourselves, because it's not about money, about charging. It's about attitude. If you want more place to be dog friendly,
in future,
you need to do everything possible to make the place clean after yourself.
And to show that traveling with pets won't destroy your apartment. So please guys make more dog-friendly hotels and apartments.
So that is really important. If you are traveling with your dog, please leave all these places clean and tidy after yourself.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think that's a great point, Eugene. Because it just takes one bad incident for a lot of hotels or places to ban dogs or to ban anything. It just
Yeah,
takes that one person. Yeah, forever. So many dogs lose out because this one person was irresponsible. So guys, please do your part. Help other pet parents out. We all want to travel with our dogs and take them everywhere with us. What could be better? So yeah, that I think that's a very very important point that you mentioned there. So the list is up. I think people can download. I'm going to put it up again. So what kind of comments do you get? Because not many people in the world are familiar with this breed, right? The indie dog. So do you get a lot of curious comments, or what do you hear?
Probably the most popular comment Chapati is getting is something like, "You travel more than me. I want your parents to adopt me."
Of course, lots of words of love to Chapati, to ourselves, because people enjoy the story, and we inspire some people to help animals, and we think it's our biggest accomplishment, because when you're getting the message that Chapati inspired someone to adopt even a single dog, but sometimes we got
one time
we got a message that the guy adopted 9 dogs after reading Chapati's story.
Oh my God, really?
It makes our heart melt.
Yeah, so at these moments we understand that what we are doing is probably a good job, and maybe it helps the world.
No, so when if people ask you about an indie dog, do you redirect them to any organization in India that they can contact if they want an indie dog? Because we, as you've been to India, we have a huge stray dog population which needs homes, and there are a lot of organizations now that are working for these dogs, and I wish there were more. So, but is there any organization that's close to your heart?
Actually, I don't know. I know quite many organizations, and it's quite hard for me to point out one. But
Yeah.
when people from Ukraine or other countries, I mean not India, are asking where I can get such dog, I always tell, please come to India and find the first starving dog on the street. And it will be nearly the same. Maybe a bit different in exterior, but exterior, but I think that Indian dogs are quite similar in their behavior. So
yes,
it's kind of hard to name specific organization, because when you're not a part of the country, when you're not living there permanently, you can't actually rely on the different kind of organizations, because if you know the organization is good, you tell it. But I'm sure there are a lot of Indian organizations which are really nice, but we are not familiar with them. So even in Ukraine, for example, we name those kennels or shelters which we are sure about the quality and the attitude of the dog they have. So, but Kristina, of course, she's speaking to lots of organizations and people, and she knows some good places which really help dogs.
And actually, if you don't sorry?
So you're doing a fundraiser right now for a particular one, right?
Yeah. Actually, it's this organization is not only about Indian dogs and not only about dogs, but just recently I got familiar with one amazing non-profit organization. It is called Citizens for Animal Protection. It's based in Mumbai. These guys actually they are working with many aspects of animal welfare, but currently due to coronavirus and all this lockdown, their main point is to feed starving animals, because there are lots of starving animals on the streets who don't get food right now from the people.
Hard times is such a good initiative. It's really important.
So this organization, CAP Mumbai, they started a very special campaign. It's called Hungry Hai Sabhi, if I'm right with pronunciation.
Yes, you are.
So their main point is to feed those animals. At the moment, they are taking care for more than 5,000 of different animals, both small and huge ones. Actually, they had to start a fundraising campaign because they need a lot of money. One animal per day, one single animal will need around 250-300 rupees to get its food.
And they have 5,000.
And they have 5,000. So like for 20 days, they need 700,000 rupees to feed these animals. So of course they started this fundraising, and we are sharing this page when you can donate with you. And we really call you to help to help these guys reach their purpose and their goal.
Even a small donation will help, because this is such a huge amount of money, and it's just not possible to get it from like one person or an organization. Like if everybody will join and commute and participate in this will help, because it's so important. Because it's hard times for us, but just imagine animals, they can't feed themselves.
Yeah,
of course.
Guys, if you can't help with money at the moment, you can always share the story, and it's an absolutely amazing help, because spreading awareness about needs of these amazing creatures, it's absolutely worthless. So please help these guys make this their purpose closer to reality.
And feed animals you have in your neighborhood. So it also helps. You need to do this.
Yeah. I mean, everyone can do something or the other. It's, the Indie stray dogs, I mean, they're very, very sturdy dogs. But of course, life on the streets is not easy on anyone. And they used to rely a lot on the restaurants that were in markets or eating places, small stalls, and everything was shut because of coronavirus. And there were a lot of organizations like CAP here stepped up and have been doing, but it's never enough with the amount of dogs we have on the streets and other animals even. So there's an organization in Delhi that I support personally called Friendicos, who has even been feeding stray cows. So who used to rely on a vegetable market, but that vegetable market was shut down with the spread of coronavirus, and then cows had nothing to eat. So I mean, it's just been a really, really tough situation all around, guys. So support CAP Mumbai, support Friendico, support anyone you do, spread the word, like Kristina said, or like Eugene said, feed the animals in your own locality. Every little bit helps. Because, they're part of our lives. They're here with us, and there's no excuse for ignoring their
Such
life.
great words. Thank you.
Thank you guys for
put that all together. We will help and make this world a bit better place for amazing creatures.
Yeah, no, your story is so amazing. I really hope it inspires more people to adopt, no matter from where. All dogs deserve a wonderful life and home like you have given Chapati. So it's really heartwarming to hear your stories and to see her pictures. And it's amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you too.
All you need for that is love.
Yes.
Nothing else. Only love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Instagram.
Not us, Chapati.
Chapati.
Yeah.
Guys, she tried to to give many travel hacks and tips, and you can always connect us if you need any help with organizing moving to a new place.
Yeah.
And look at some great pictures taken by Eugene. I mean, fantastic shots there.
Try my best.
Right.
And even if the quarantine is here for some time, we're so tired without traveling, so we'll probably go travel around Ukraine because it's such a nice country, has a lot to offer, and we will be happy to show everybody how Ukraine is good, nice, and unique. So wow, look at this. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Oh, hi, Chapati.
It's
She enjoys with us all the time. We never separate.
That's beautiful. That's perfect. I mean, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Thank you for your time.
you too.
Yeah, bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.